welcome everyone to another edition of UFT Fitness and Mental Health Seminars. Today we have Stefania presenting us social media and everybody give her a round of applause.
That's okay. Won't be necessary. All right. So, am I ready to start? All good?
You're all good. Whenever
Perfect.
you want.
All right. So, as you can see, today's topic is social media and mental health, and the complications specifically with sharing advice about mental health online. So basically, the reason why I decided to choose this topic, I don't know why my slide is not working. Wonderful. The reason for choosing this topic is actually just a little anecdote of mine. So one day at 2 a.m., I was on TikTok. And then I saw one of these challenges that were just like, oh, put a finger down if this, put a finger down that. I was like, okay, sure. I want to take this. This seems fun. And at the end of it, apparently I was diagnosed with like PTSD, autism, and ADHD all at the same time. And I was like, this is completely ridiculous. Like, what sort of scientific basis do we have in order to like tell people that they have said disorders? Do we have any sort of understanding about this? Do we know just how much damage we can cause in the community if we propagate this sort of scientific nonsense? So because of that, especially within the context of this club and our purpose, I decided to create this presentation. All right, so here is the order for what we're going to talk about. Specific trends concerning mental health that we see online, especially self-diagnosis, proposed solutions that I would have in order to avoid all the negativities that come with this, and finally, a discussion. So, we see mental health advice everywhere, and this is especially what I've seen on TikTok. As I mentioned, put a finger down challenges. These are absolutely amazing for self-diagnosis and making people panic more than they should. Stereotyping that we see on TikTok, different things talking about different mental health disorders, how you should act if you have a specific thing. Faking disorders and spreading false information. Now, this is, I'd say, one of the saddest ones on the list, but it is very prominent and something that will be discussed today. Finally, nutrition, fitness challenges, and trauma. So things that change from one individual to another, but as soon as they're put online, they can risk generalizing and causing people to think that their situation should be treated in a different way than it actually should. All right. So just a mini discussion before we get into it. How have social media platforms impacted your mental health personally? So I'm leaving this open to you guys. Just let me know.
And personally, I think social media can be addicting. Like, once you start, it's just like the beginning of the rabbit hole. Just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Maybe it's every single post is like a little like dopamine hit.
Mm-hmm. If there's anybody who has their hand raised, I can't really see it due to presenter mode. So somebody can let me know. Are we good? Okay, perfect. And my other question is, have you guys encountered similar advice? Like, have you ever seen some posts that were just like, oh, eat this in a day if you want to be better, or do these things in order to like relieve anxiety, and then you see that there's no scientific like basis attached to it? Have you guys like ever encountered that? Because I definitely have. Like,
I think a lot of media outlets incorporate this type of false advertisements. I mean, now it's social media primarily, but I remember even in the past, like there would be all these TV shows played. I even heard like Dr. Oz for the majority of time promoted all these diets that were fad diets. They weren't actually like supported by scientific evidence or proper scientific evidence.
yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. Or like those ads that you notice on specific supplements, then you see like the fittest people always in the ad. And then they say that's all just due to those specific supplements. Yeah, exactly.
Berke, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I came across like motivational speakers, like self-proclaimed motivational speakers, especially on TikTok, like just like talking like bunch of stuff with no scientific proof or evidence.
Oh, facts. Absolute facts. It makes me so mad every single time I come like across one of them, and then I see the comments that are just like, "Thank you so much. You just made my day. I'm gonna be sure to implement this." And I'm like, "Oh God, no." Yeah. All right. So let's see. For some reason, there we go. Okay. So the main problems with self-diagnosis. When people self-diagnose on the internet, they usually do so because they feel as if they have some symptoms in common with whatever is described as the mental illness. However, many of those can actually be symptoms of real physiological problems. And if you self-diagnose, you can actually completely miss out on an accurate physiological diagnosis for another disease. For example, when you have a brain tumor, one of the very first changes in your body that you would see is behavioral. You would see that it impacts parts of the brain, so then the person would start acting in a completely different way, even if they have no physical symptoms that are noticed yet. So because of that, if you notice that there is a difference in the way that you behave, or that you can't seem to control specific urges or something like that, contact a doctor. Please don't comment on TikTok as your response to it saying, "Oh, I have that too." No, if you're worried about something concerning your health, contact a physician. That is very important. Do not self-diagnose. You could do more damage than good in the long run. Another thing is that people might self-identify with a specific disease due to use of poor language by the person who's posting specific things. So they could try to describe a symptom as such, and then you might feel as if you relate to it just because of the words chosen. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you would relate to it to the extent that a psychiatrist would consider for you to have that specific disease. And finally, it's really good to find a community. I know that TikTok and many other social media platforms can be a way to unite people who have had similar experiences, but taking the same choices as those other people in order to strive for self-benefit might not always work. Our bodies are different, our experiences are different, and our ways of handling trauma are completely different. This is why we must always contact somebody who is a professional at this. It's not enough to find a good community and imitate others. Once again, it could do more harm than good. All right, so false information. I went on a nice subreddit here called Fake Disorder Cringe, and some of these were absolutely stellar. So basically, faking mental illness, it's not a funny thing. However, it's comical to the extent that we've decided to portray it on social media. It could lead to completely real consequences. Actually, faking an illness could show subtle signs of a developing mental illness, and you could actually create a very poor situation for yourself that could lead to actual psychiatric need for help. But these are some examples that I found, and both of them, I don't even have to say that they're completely false. However, these are things that are circulating around the internet. And no, sitting in a parked car forever does not mean you have ADHD. Please don't believe that. You don't have dissociative disorder, like just because of a headache. However, these symptoms, if you notice them, could be a sign of something going on with you. And if you feel worried, once again, contact a physician. Please don't comment on a TikTok saying that you also have ADHD. Thank you. So just as solutions for everything that was mentioned today, please consider everything you see online for what it is. Be wary of the lies that people can tell in order to get attention or followers. Someone's schedule might not work for you. If they have a workout schedule or an eating schedule or a sleep routine, it might not be the one that works optimally for you. Don't just do something because somebody on the internet promises you that it's going to make your life better. If you have doubts about whether you have a disorder, or if you feel as if something is completely different with you, you're just not feeling like yourself recently, contact a professional. That is the most important step. And finally, be careful with the information that you acquire and you spread. You don't want to give fake information to people. It could be really harmful, and it could be damaging not only for them, but for yourself as well. So just to conclude this, what are some ways that we can know if information is valid online? What are some ways that we could kind of navigate and find good advice?
If the article is peer reviewed. I'm just saying, it's literally like said to us all the time in university. So I guess this is the standard we follow nowadays to determine, if science is relatively valid or not.
That's true. We also need to be wary of recent publications because sometimes they can be refuted even if peer reviewed. When you see the amount of citations, the effect that they've had, kind of the steps that they went through. Yeah, but yeah, that's true. What are some other ways? you see, there are some accounts on TikTok that I feel actually give really good advice. Tell me if that isn't. No. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. Anyways, there are some accounts on TikTok that actually have valid information. There are many like physicians on there trying to give as much pertinent information as possible. But when there's somebody just kind of piggybacking on that, presenting their own advice, making it absolutely ridiculous, that's just not the way to go. Please be careful of the sources that you use. Thank you. I guess that concludes it, honestly. These are some sources that you can look into, the ones that I used for my presentation. But apart from that, I think we're good.
Okay. Jeez. Well, oh, you even came out with some sources. I see.
Of course I came out with some sources. What did I say?
Well then,
He doesn't want to see more information about me bashing social platforms.
do we wanna like host a discussion section, or is that the end of your presentation?
This is the end of my presentation. This is
Well
all the
then.
information I have. Thank you.
Well done. That was amazing.
Cheers. Another thing that we could do, I forgot about that. Another thing that we could do, like at the end of the seminars, I'm thinking, is we could host like a mini discussion and also kind of like put it in like a document form in which people could share their ideas so that we can go back to them after.
Yeah. I mean, I'll stop the recording.
Yeah, for sure.